over a month after release, 99% of this shit is either fixed or entirely removed. Thank you, Xenos. But on a serious note, as I'm sure most of you watching have heard, Attack on Kaiju 2 has returned, for better or for worse. And with so many new changes to the game, and some of the facts from the last video actually now being outdated, I thought I'd make a part 2 to correct what is now fixed and throw in lots more information, new or old. There are two things I would like to cover before we get into the real meat of this video, and those things are: 1, there are 10 less facts in this video. This is thanks to the fact that 12 facts in the original script for this video are actually now outdated due to bug fixes and polish since the revival. So I've went ahead and replaced 2 facts and just removed 10. Plus, 50 is just a nicer number to look at. 2, I would like to state that this video will contain more surface level knowledge, to veterans at least, to appeal to the wide margin of new players that the revival has brought about. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get into it. Rank points are a special number assigned to each character in the game. They determine your rank on the character's leaderboard as well as being responsible for obtaining hidden chromas. They are obtained from killing players over level 5 in classic mode wins. 1 kill equates to 1 point, 1 classic mode win equates to 3 points, and losses are the exact same, just negative. I covered Legendary Ping in the last video, but there's another perma-limited chroma known as Day 1 Discrepancies. As the name implies, it could only be obtained in the first 24 hours of the game's release, so you won't be seeing this one too often. Shiny crates are rare skin crates obtained from wins in classic mode or rarely defender kills in free roam. The shiny crate features 16 possible skins, some of which have unique qualities. Version 2 of Attack on Kaiju 2 introduced Battle Zones. Battle Zones are a random, or paid if you'd like, event in free roam that can happen at a random location on the map. To win, you have to defeat a certain number of people in the boundaries of the Battle Zone. This will typically yield you anywhere between 200 and 700 coins, up to 30 bonds, lots of XP, and sometimes even the newly introduced Battle Zone crate. Side note, if you win as defenders, the prize will be split between all parties. Timmy was the only grabbable kaiju in the game for 2 years straight, and it served as his greatest weakness. One grab and throw into the storm ate up as much as half or even more of his HP. This change was recently reverted with the introduction of version 2. Attack on Kaiju 2 briefly got shut down in early 2026. Fear, the old owner of the game, later revealed that the shutdown was chat related, as the game used a custom chat. The shutdown was unwarranted, however, as the custom chat UI still followed all of the then new Roblox communication guidelines. A rather niche but unique feature of the game is beam clashing. It is a quick time event that occurs when a Nob 13 or Junwei Jun hits the beam of another Nob or another Junwei. If you're fast enough, your beam will overpower your opponents, leading to even more massive damage. The rare skin in Attack on Kaiju 2 is not something that is debated, but certainly something I've thought about before. Some that may come to mind include the previously mentioned Legendary Ping or Day 1 Discrepancies, but as a result of version 2, this has changed. The recent Abyssal Battle Pass edition, part of version 2, introduced the Herald Gladiator Discrepancies chroma, a reward for beating all lifetime Battle Pass missions. Doing this is, for lack of a better term, an undertaking. I imagine only a few dozen people will ever get this chroma by the time the Battle Pass ends. The game features an anti-teaming system. When an opponent is hit by melee attacks from 2 different parties in under a second, the game spawns a large explosion that does 5 damage to all parties involved, allowing the victim to escape. Extra fact that I don't possess any footage for, being a victim of anti-team cancels heal circle heals. No idea why this happens. Free roam and classic mode possess 2 entirely different terrain styles. Fear later explained that the motive behind this contrast was smooth terrain was much easier to work with and eased time constraints with the release of free roam. He also explained that smooth terrain is less performant, however. Eremos is an iconic map still present in classic mode, but it had a much different look and name prior to the game's release amid testing. The old Eremos, referred to as Kingdom of Valara, was much smaller and felt like a hybrid of Eremos and Hollow Earth. Fear, the old owner of the game, explained that it was remade due to its teeny size. Timmy's ultimate used to possess a really unique firing animation. It's clear to me that this was removed due to how easy it would be to predict, as well as the time slowing effect not affecting the whole world. Pig Primes has modeled all but 2 of the kaijus in the game. He's a modeling masterclass, and I hope to see more of his work in future updates. Lin had an old pre-production model with an unknown creator, as seen in this teaser, featuring Shiruku. This old model can still be seen in the desert map on classic mode performing as the Sphinx. Mayhem was intended to be much different from his final version seen in-game. Mayhem previously had concept art created by Pseudo-Mesh, which possessed a more freakish, alien-like design. Eventually, for unknown reasons, his art was scrapped and unused in the creation of Mayhem, as creative liberty was given to Pig Primes. Alligator is a kaiju from Attack on Kaiju Classic and has yet to make an appearance in Attack on Kaiju 2. However, some concept art for the modernized rendition of this kaiju, made by Meat Scented, surfaced sometime in 2025. There's been no mention of its addition to the game since. Aquarius, as discussed in the previous video, was teased in early 2025. Recently, an unknown developer posted a screenshot of the Aquarius model rig inside a blender. Apart from the teaser, this is the only look we'll ever have at Aquarius. Until release! A correction to a now outdated fact from the first video. Jumping Spider is no longer the most physically altered chroma in the game. The Battlezone crate, introduced on May 16th, added over 20 new chromas to the game, over half of which are very physically altered. These are some of the best chromas in the game, save for a few, and have a 50% chance of being a reward for a Battlezone. It's no secret that the game is overly reliant on ping. I've never been quite sure what has caused this, but it might be server reliance. There is a hidden lobby for staff members in the Classic Mode lobby, accessible by elevator for certain people. You can, however, free cam into it and see what's inside. Another correction to the previous video, Juanito and Lin now finally have hidden chromas. Juanito's requires 200 rank points, whereas Lin's requires 150. I'll show them on screen, and I'll be honest, I'm in love with both of these. According to Zylu, a developer for the game, the Battlezone crate is actually backwards in the menu, and this is what the front looks like according to Zylu. Usakaiser's ultimate no longer does fatal damage in free roam. This is very likely due to the implications it would have on the newly introduced Battlezone feature. There are some quirks with Classic Mode maps. Most notably of these quirks is none other than the infamous Arctic Avalanche, a random event that releases snow boulders that do massive damage upon hitting someone. Some other map quirks include the Pillars in the Desert, which insta-kill once they have fallen, and gas stations on City, Frontier, and Harbor. Between May 2025 and May 2026, Attack on Kaiju 2 was not updated a single time. This was mostly thanks in part to the introduction of a new game by Manhattan Project, Droid. This time period contributed to the most dead state of the game we will possibly ever see, reaching as low as 0 players in later hours. On that topic, the revival and return of Attack on Kaiju 2 can be credited to the new project handler and sole scripter of the game, Xenos, otherwise known as Phoenix. After over a year of the game being in a dormant state, Xenos stepped in and revitalized Attack on Kaiju 2 by dropping the largest content update the game had ever seen. The version 2 update was scheduled to release on May 8th, 2026, and it certainly did, 22 hours into the day. This update included Steel Vengeance, Storm, Battle Zones, a combat rework, among many other features such as Kaiju and Defender reworks. While the release of this update was admittedly hype as shit, the initial release of it had no shortage of bugs and functional fallacies. A lot of people like to discredit Xenos for this mess of a release, but in his defense, it's hard to get everything right as the only scripter, especially with this amount of content. Pang, while being a seasonal kaiju, is rarely seen on the game's item podium for a steep 6,500 coins. I'm unsure of the exact chance of this, but I've only seen it a few times. Dark Metal Sasori is a podium exclusive chroma for Sasori, and I genuinely have no idea what other purpose it serves, but it will certainly go down as one of the chromas of all time. Almost every single chroma of Arm & Hammers is based on a real-life squid species. They are named accordingly. The only exception I could find to this was Ishmael and Limbo, as well as Metal. Attack on Kaiju Classic is the predecessor and source material to Attack on Kaiju 2, hence the name, seeing its creation in 2015. Mostly everything in the game is extremely primitive, but that's to be expected for a project of its age. At the time, however, it was certainly impressive. You can damage your tag team teammates with explosive throwables like tankers. I'm sorry in advance. If you free cam between the lobby and round transition, as you turn it back off, the lobby GUI will be visible in-game. This could open the door for some interesting bugs. Halo Juanito doesn't have eyes, but his ult will reveal eyes that are left over from the base model. Jumping directly on top of the bouncy ball in the classic mode lobby will send it into floating point. It will cease to exist. It will die. It will delete itself. It's fairy dust. It's never landed. It will be of no matter. It won't be on the elemental chart. It's not fucking real. Version 2 of the game introduced air combos. Air combos can occur by holding C after a full melee combo, launching you and your opponent into the air, following for even more hits, at the cost of less damage. There have been mixed opinions on this feature, but I personally am an enjoyer of it, in certain circumstances. The newly introduced Freddy-based Lyn skin was originally supposed to be Franken Lyn, according to Sharkbite, a developer of the game. Franken Lyn can still be used as a chroma for this skin, however. If you use the code RESURRECTED between May 16th and May 18th, you would receive the Resurrected Junwei-Jun chroma, a chroma created to celebrate 400 concurrent players. It's peak. Most, if not all, of the vehicle models in the game were created by Captain Crocky, a developer for the game. This applies for airborne vehicles as well. Fearfant, the creator and previous manager of Attack on Kaiju 2, has his own personal paint chroma. It is entirely black on the body and possesses neon green eyes and accents. As of version 2, Arm & Hammer's move Armament now extends the mouse 1 chain by 2, which allows for 5 consecutive hits. If this expires mid-chain, you can get 7 consecutive mouse 1 hits. This was discovered by this bum. There's a minigame in the lobby where if you click this button enough times, the meter will slowly fill up and blow confetti once full. No. Get in there. The milestone of reaching player level 100 was just achieved for the first time by Fire Godzilla Cool a few weeks ago. Say what you want, but I think this is highly impressive for a mobile player. Very rarely, this Goomba will be on display on the screens in the classic mode lobby. Few have ever reported sightings of this, but it's definitely real. Check out this house on the harbor map. Nothing unusual for sure. One very niche issue I've noticed in the game is the Area 52 discrepancy. In the free roam mode of the game, Area 52 is the highest level, most difficult base to conquer. It's desert themed and sits by an ocean. However, the lobby in classic mode is also referred to as Area 52, as told by the numbers strewn about the entire building. Looking outside, the environment is clearly Arctic, making it nothing like the Area 52 seen on free roam. Which is it? Pirate Wenuto is based on Gold D. Roger from One Piece. I sure hope this doesn't incentivize a trademarked property dispute. Speaking of trademarked properties, the tank is completely safe. The description explains that the model is called the M1 Ram in lore, which doesn't sound like any real-life tank I've ever heard of. You know, originally I was going to put something really boring and uninteresting for this final fact, but I had to go to the ultimate source of information, Xenos himself. You know, originally this final fact was going to be something super boring, but I wanted to make it interesting since you've made it this far. So I had to hit up the ultimate source of information, Xenos himself. According to Xenos, as seen here, the next 3 Kaiju models are already fully done. This does not include animations or rigging, just the models themselves. Isn't that a piece of exciting news? And so that is all 50 facts that I have on hand right now. While I'm sure there are a lot more I could discover for a potential sequel video, all of this information should suffice until then. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in 2035 when I release the sequel. Oh, whoa, wait, I'm not done.
I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish.
Oh yeah, and here's this. Adios.